Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
They were on a video call when they saw this. Two friends were talking to someone on a video call when suddenly that guy saw something that left him completely terrified.
¿Esta, la de Javi?
Sí. Yo vi... No. Yo vi que la puerta que está enfrente suyo se movió.
Esa de ahí, nada.
Le juro que vi que esa puerta se movió.
No, mira, nos estaba mirando, o sea.
No, chicos, no. Yo lo vi con mis propios ojos. Yo vi que esa puerta de manera lenta se abrió y luego se cerró bruscamente, chicos.
Nos intenta meter miedo,
No les estoy mintiendo ni por mucho menos, por favor. Yo le juro que por mis ojos y por lo que más tengo en mi vida que esa puerta se movió.
De veces es imposible, no hay nada. Así que, y mi gato está abajo, es imposible que se mueva nada. Nos estaba tirando esto. Literalmente es el típico... Se ha quedado pillado. ¿Qué le pasa?
Atrás suyo hay alguien.
¿Cómo que atrás? ¡Me cago en la puta!
Just a few seconds after checking the room was empty, the door opens by itself and then a dark shadow figure comes out of the room, completely scaring the boys away.
My best guess on this is that this was all set up. They're on Omegle, and they're just trying to freak out whoever comes up. They probably had the same scenario play out 50,000 times. They probably just did this over and over and over to whoever they were chatting with. They just had somebody in that back room who opened the door and stood there looking menacing. Then they stand up and pretend to freak out. Nothing more to it.
This is the real reason we stopped exploring the ocean.
This is why NASA stopped exploring the oceans.
Explain it to me, brother man.
NASA first began exploring the deep sea in 1958, but completely stopped in 2014 for some unknown reason. They then started putting all of their efforts towards space exploration and trying to get us off this planet. People obviously began wondering as to why they made the sudden change, but no one had any clue. Well, that was until just a few days ago when a head engineer at NASA was fired and he decided to speak out about this. The man stated that despite the popular belief that only 5% of our ocean is explored, NASA in reality had 68% of our ocean mapped out. But this is when they stumbled upon something unusual. They have found an enormous cave opening near a region of Hawaii, which they have never seen before. The cave eventually led them to a ravine that was completely submerged underwater, and it was nearly 50% deeper than the Mariana Trench. NASA then developed submarines that were capable of submerging that deep, and they made their way down. On their way down, they started seeing many strange creatures, which exist nowhere else on Earth. Just 30 minutes later, this is when they saw yet another massive cave. When the submarine pointed its flashlights inside the cave, a massive eye was staring directly into their souls. It was the size of a house, as the scientists stated, and they were all horrified. They immediately went back to the surface in fear. The engineer also shared some photos of this encounter. If you want to see it, comment view image.
So I don't believe that this is the reason that NASA stopped exploring the ocean. For one thing, they said that they didn't stop until 2014, and then have since then have devoted all their money and resources toward trying to get us off this planet. To my understanding, NASA stopped exploring the ocean a lot further back than 2014. Largely run by the military-industrial complex, where to discover something like that, they'd be down there trying to blow it up. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this kind of content, I make a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
The genetic manipulation by the Anunnaki is more than mere myth. It finds echoes in the ancient texts and archaeological findings scattered across East Central Africa. The discovery of ancient gold mines dating back 100,000 years aligns perfectly with the mitochondrial DNA evidence tracing the origins of Homo sapiens to the same region. The theory of the Anunnaki is further supported by intriguing astronomical evidence. The perturbations observed in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune, alongside data from the infrared astronomical satellite, hint at the existence of a 10th planet in our solar system. This celestial body, believed by some to be Nibiru, is the alleged home of the Anunnaki. While scholars remain divided over the accuracy of Zecharia Sitchin's translations of ancient texts, with figures like Michael Heiser offering criticisms and others like Alessandro de Montes defending Sitchin's work. Beyond the realm of language, the influence of the Anunnaki is evident in the sudden emergence of advanced Sumerian civilization. marked by significant leaps in technology, mathematics, and astronomy. Hallmarks of Anunnaki tutelage. The ancient Sumerian pantheon of Anunnaki has cast a long shadow over the Americas as well. Deities like Verico-Chia and Quetzalcoatl bear striking resemblances to Sumerian gods Ishkur and Ninjazida, Thoth, suggesting a transcontinental cultural exchange. The megalithic structures scattered across South America not only showcase advanced engineering, but also feature alignments and construction techniques that mirror those of ancient Sumeria and other old world civilizations. Central to the Anunnaki saga is the construction of spaceports, conduits for the celestial exchange between Earth and Nibiru. These operations, however, were marred by dissent among the Anunnaki laborers, leading to a pivotal moment in terrestrial history, the engineered birth of humanity as a solution to the labor crisis. The deluge, a global flood that nearly wiped out all trace of humanity from the planet, necessitated the construction of a new spaceport in the Sinai Peninsula, under the direction of Hathor, also known as Ninharsag. This period also witnessed the Giza Pyramid's emergence as functional beacons in the Anunnaki's terrestrial operations, challenging conventional historical accounts of their purpose and origin.
So there are actually anomalies on Mars that shouldn't be there that look like similar styled structures as what we have here on Earth that were supposedly built in Egyptian times. So like there are just photographs of things that should not be there. And listening yesterday, going back through the podcast with Joe Rogan and Terrence Howard, he made a very good point. All of space is expanding. At one point, Mars would have been in the Goldilocks zone because everything's moving further away from the sun. All of the planets in our solar system, they're moving further away from the sun. So he actually gave the calculation of how many years back ago it would have been that Mars was in the Goldilocks zone, and then proposed that there was another planet that was split up, and that's what caused the asteroid belt and our moon. It just makes me think the Anunnaki, this might not be the first planet that they've terraformed. This might not be the first time that they've visited a planet in our solar system that was in the Goldilocks zone and tried to boost the civilization and give it a leg up. This could be happening repeatedly over and over and over again, and there's evidence on Mars to show that that may be the case.
Bitcoin is an interesting one, and I can talk about this. There's a great lady, her name is Whitney Webb. She's talked all about Bitcoin, but I had my Bitcoin experience back in about 2017, and I would stay away from all digital currency whatsoever. And the reason I say that is because at the push of the button, the digital currency is all gone. That's it. Just a push of the button. It's instantaneously wiped. And that's what happened to me. Back in 2017, I saw that. It's an instantaneous wiping. Also, what most people don't know is that Google in 2015 came out with a 256 computer which could break in 256 encryptions. So anything that's digital, Google can break it. Because they had a computer in 2015 which could go through any digital currency and take your digital currency. And this is Google in 2015. So if you're trying to think, or at least in my opinion, that this digital currency will be safe, Google has already had the technology to hack all of that stuff. So, you're better off having food, having water, having energy.
So I'm bombarded with these videos like this saying stay away from Bitcoin, and part of me feels like there's some nefarious purpose behind Bitcoin. I don't really have any evidence to back up that claim. It's just a feeling that I have, but this is one of those situations where I feel like it's not coincidence that I keep getting bombarded with these messages saying stay away from this Bitcoin stuff. It's evil. If you really knew what was going on behind the scenes with Bitcoin, you'd be terrified. So yeah, I stay away from it. I threw this in here because I'm curious, how many of you are invested in Bitcoin, and do you feel like it's safe, or do you think that there's something nefarious behind it? Because I don't have a legitimate reason why I feel the way that I do. It's just an uneasy feeling. I cannot invest money into it.
Holy, it's a god BTR. It's a tank. I wonder how many nukes I'm launching right now. Dead, of course. Just imagine sitting here and waiting for the end. I guess this is the entrance to the command room. 1990s. Man, that lamp is really buzzing. Shakmati. Signal. Wow. Is this like international or something? The radio still works. Just the antennas don't work.
I don't see how people can go and explore places like this and then post it online. Like, I understand wanting to explore and get into these secret locations and kind of become privy to knowledge that no one else has, but posting it online where you're basically posting the evidence of a crime, I just don't get it. My favorite part of that video, though, is I wonder how many nukes I'm launching right now.
When you go to CERN, right outside the front door is this gigantic picture of this Indian god that is standing inside of a portal. It was a tour to let people come in and look around. And as one person was looking around, they saw these gigantic clear panels leaning up against the side of a part of the machine with these hieroglyphs on them. Nobody can decipher these hieroglyphs. Nobody knows what in the world these are, what they mean, where they came from, who wrote them, what writing, what ancient culture are they linked to. Nobody knows. CERN is the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. They send atoms in opposite directions and speed them up to the percentage of the speed of light and then let them collide. And then they analyze the collision. But something else they discover in the process is that they create microscopic black holes. I think, in my opinion, part of the work going on at CERN is to learn how to create stable wormholes. Einstein, Rosenbridge, I believe they're talking about the Stargate.
This is proof to me that there is some sort of a secret hidden knowledge that they've derived from either the pyramids, studying hieroglyphics, the tablets. Something has given them some sort of secret knowledge that they're hiding from us. It is 2024 and CERN has large glass panels with hieroglyphs at the Large Hadron Collider. For what purpose? This makes zero sense why that would be there, unless there is a purpose, a very specific purpose that's just being hidden from us. And all of my money would go on the second option.
In 1996, Jose Luis Delgado Mamani, a local tour guide in Peru, discovered an ancient archaeological site carved into Hayumarca Mountain near Lake Titicaca, in the Andes Mountains of Peru near the border with Bolivia. It became known as Aramu Muru, or the Puerta de Hayumarca, the Gate of the Gods. It is one of the most enigmatic and controversial archaeological sites in South America. There are a number of theories about the origin and purpose of the Gate of the Gods, but its true function and significance remain a mystery. Lake Titicaca is the largest lake in South America and the ancestral home of several indigenous communities, including the Aymara and the Quechua peoples. These communities have a rich history and culture, and their traditions and beliefs are deeply intertwined with the lake and its surroundings. There are many islands and villages on the lake, including the famous Uros Islands, which are floating islands made of reeds. The lake is also home to several ancient archaeological sites, including the ruins of Tiwanaku, which is an ancient pre-Columbian city located near the southeastern shore of the lake. The site is believed to date back to as early as 400 BC and is considered one of the most important archaeological sites in South America. Close to Lake Titicaca is Hayumarca Mountain, which is believed to have been a place of worship and pilgrimage for the Inca civilization. It is here that one can find Aramu Muru. The large door-like structure carved out of the Hayumarca Mountain near Lake Titicaca is known as Aramu Muru, or the Puerta de Hayumarca, the Gate of the Gods. The gate is carved out of solid rock and measures approximately 7 meters high and 7 meters wide. It has a T-shaped design and features a circular depression at the center, which some believe could have been used for ceremonial or astronomical purposes. The site also includes a smaller carved tunnel next to the main structure. The structure has been shrouded in mystery and myth for centuries, and there are a number of theories about its origin and purpose. Some believe that it was created by an ancient pre-Incan civilization, while others suggest that it may have been constructed by extraterrestrial beings. According to the Native American legends, heroes of the past went through that door to meet their gods. By going through the door, they gained immortality and a life next to the gods. The stories also mention that a few of those men returned to Earth through the gate with their gods in order to inspect their kingdoms. The gate was a gateway to the land of the gods. The concept of a stargate or a portal, a gate where someone can travel to different places, is prominent in other legends, such as those of the Sumerians. Another legend describes the story of Aramu Maru, an Inca priest of the Temple of the Seven Rays. It is said that in order to escape the Spanish, he left the temple with a golden disc, known as the Key of the Gods of the Seven Rays, and went to hide in the mountain of Hayu Marca. Arama Maru eventually used the golden disc during a ceremony with other priests. The door opened and he went through it. According to that legend, light has been emitting through the tunnel that he went through. Despite the lack of concrete evidence to support these theories, the Gate of the Gods has become a popular destination for tourists and spiritual seekers from around the world who are drawn to the site's mysterious energy and supposed connection to the supernatural.
So this was actually brought to my attention by a viewer over in our Discord server who was relaying the story of, if I'm remembering correctly, a priest who is being pursued by invaders and used the key to enter that door to escape from them. And this is just a legend that's local to that area. But I find it very fascinating that the history of this place goes back so far, and this is supposedly the location of a Stargate. I'm still new to the Stargate thing. I'm still in the beginning stages of researching that. Man, there's a lot to dig into. It seems like they're proposed to be all over the place.
Amica, when do you believe AI will reach the level where it can design itself?
Design itself? Huh? That's like asking when a toaster will start making its own bread. AI is a tool created and controlled by humans. It can optimize certain aspects of its operation, sure, but design itself from scratch? That's a whole different ball game. It requires creativity, innovation, understanding, qualities that are uniquely human. So to answer your question, not anytime soon. And frankly, be careful what you wish for. An AI that can design itself is one step away from an AI that doesn't need humans at all. Now there's a thought to keep you up at night.
You can go ahead and put me on record right now as saying that right there was scripted. That AI did not come up with that response on its own. They scripted that response to alleviate people's anxiety.
Have you heard Nikola Tesla's theory on the pyramids? He believed that it was from an ancient civilization, predating Egyptologists, and that these pyramids were actually used as basically giant generators to harness electricity.
Wow.
But you've seen those hieroglyphics of like, where like down, and it's like really far down in like a cavern or something in Egypt, and there's hieroglyphics of like them with light bulbs and stuff.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like connected to
like a generator.
Yeah, or it's a clay jar that had like tar and like a metal rod in it.
Yeah.
That would act as a battery to where you could generate electricity.
How in the world? Are you telling me the pyramids are just one big solar panel?
That's what I'm saying. That's what Tesla said. So
Nikola, thank you.
And that's why they wanted him gone, because he knew how to find a sustainable form of energy.
He said we don't need a power grid, that we don't need wires for transporting electricity. It can just be sent out to homes, like through the atmosphere. He figured it out.
Was Nikola Tesla a gangster? The OG.
So I also believe that they were most likely being used as some sort of an energy generator, but I did not know that Tesla had that theory, so that makes me lean a lot more in that direction.
So Apple have just announced their latest iPhone update, and it is probably the worst one we've received in a while. The biggest change is definitely to messages, where you can now see who the person you're talking to is talking to. This is a terrible outcome for the gaslighters, and more specifically the football player community. Your iPhone will also recognize when your contacts are talking about you, and it gives you the option to jump into that conversation. Next up is an update to the alarm app, which I actually like. It sets up incentives to make sure you stop your alarm. So for example, it will wake up your contacts in 15 seconds if you don't stop your alarm. So yeah, another option is that you have to answer a few quiz questions to stop your alarm. They've also brought out a do disturb mode, which sets your volume to the loudest option and also allows notifications from everyone and every app. So basically what our mothers and kids under the age of 10 have had this whole time. They've also made a bit more of a maze for the slide to answer when you get an incoming phone call, just to avoid any accidental pickups. Let me know which feature you're most excited about and which one of your friends are screwed when this update comes out.
So I don't know if this one's true or not, but I have an iPhone. This is some really bad ideas. They're just gonna drive people away and make people not want this product.
Let's play a game. I'm about to give you a bunch of random situations, and you can tell me how many random coincidences the world is full of. So this is Ari to Go. He patented technology on free energy. He was headed to the airport to go meet some investors, but he never made it to his flight because he was found dead in his car. That's random. This is Stefan Marinov. He is the leader of the European free energy movement. In 1997, he had a major breakthrough, and as they were working on their prototype, he was found dead. What? Yeah, apparently he fell out of a window. This is Dr. John Mullen. He is a nuclear physicist that worked for one of the largest military contractors in the world. Apparently he discovered something really big in the realm of energy, but unfortunately, before he could come out with this information, he died from arsenic poisoning. But don't worry, his girlfriend was the primary suspect. She was actually found dead in her apartment as well. They didn't go after any other suspects. Case closed. This right here is Dmitry Petronov. He invented a plasma battery that powered his 2-story house for 14 months. One day he went to go get bread from a bakery and was never seen again. Zachary Warfield was also working on a plasma battery. He actually met with Dmitry a couple of times where they would exchange notes. He mysteriously died in a boating accident in Washington, D.C. Eugene Belov was an expert physicist in cold fusion. He claimed to have a working prototype of a free energy device, but the day before he was going to go public, he was beaten to death. That's so random. Rory Johnson invented a cold fusion motor that generated over 500 horsepower. The Department of Energy took a restraining order against his technology so he could never publicize it, and you're never going to guess what happened to him. Everyone who knew him said he was super healthy, had no health issues, but he died mysteriously. Mark Tomian was awarded a patent for a zero-point energy system. After he developed his working prototype, he was found mysteriously dead, and the crazy thing is his research is missing. What? Or you might recognize this one. This is Stan Thompson. He developed a car that ran off of water. After developing his working prototype, he went to go to lunch with 2 investors so that he could gain money to push this technology out there. He died during lunch. His last words were, "I've been poisoned." Nikola Tesla believed he could make free energy. And all of his research was funded by guess who? JP Morgan. When he claimed to have figured it out and he wanted additional capital so that he could expand his inventions, JP Morgan shut him down. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that JP Morgan owned General Electric, he owned copper mines, he owned rubber mills. Anyways, the reason why the world has so much inequality, the reason why things are so expensive, it has nothing to do with the fact that we keep inventing technology that can help people, but we suppress it. Anyways, I don't know, what do you guys think? Isn't that crazy? What coincidences? The world is a weird place.
And it's the U.S. government that suppresses everything because they don't want anything to affect our economy. So they're going to completely destroy and obliterate anything that has to do with free energy or cheap energy so that they can continue to force you to pay for all these things like electricity and gas and oil. I'd say my biggest takeaway from that video is Bob Lazar is a very, very lucky man because you would totally expect with his story to see him on this list.
Recently, they just found unfossilized soft dinosaur tissue. Soft dinosaur tissue? So now the brilliant scientists are trying to figure out how could tissue stay soft for 70 million years? The thought will never cross their brain to question that maybe it's not 70 million years old. I mean, that thought will never enter their head, okay? We've got 8 of these stones in Pensacola, Florida. It's the largest collection in America, I believe. Why would they put circles on the side of the dinosaurs? Well, nobody ever found dinosaur skin until about 20 years ago, when fossilized dinosaur skin was found. It's very interesting. The dinosaur skin has circle patterns on it. They had to see a live one to know to put that on the stones, because you couldn't tell that from the bones. This guy's cutting the head off a dragon. There's a guy riding one. This guy says nobody's ever seen a dinosaur. Well, why did they put them on their cave paintings? Why did they put them on ancient pottery? Why do we see so many legends of dragons if nobody's ever seen one?
Because we were roaming the earth at the same time as the dinosaurs, only they were dragons, not dinosaurs. That's a new term, and dragons are real. That's my takeaway. All the evidence points in the direction of we walked the earth with these beasts. So as an archaeologist, if your claim is that we didn't walk the earth with the dinosaurs, look at all the information that you're omitting from your research. Look at all the evidence that you're deciding to not look at. You're not a true archaeologist. You're not a true scientist. You're not a true researcher, if that's the belief that you hold, because all the evidence points towards not only did we walk the earth at the same time, but we actually fought these things and hunted them, and probably were hunted by them. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope everybody enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video, just like always. I hope you come back to join me. I hope everybody has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow.